Welcome to another video by Florida Crafter. This is the first video I've done on a mixed media journal that I do on a regular basis, so bear with me. I actually decided to do it about 2 steps in. So anyway, first step I did was to just lay down a quick wash of acrylic paint and then sprayed it's actually a liquefied acrylic paint spray. That's a homemade spray that I used to accent the dusty pink background. I've been wanting to do an Asian themed journal page for a while now, and when I went to a thrift shop I found these, somebody had left these Japanese books behind, and I thought this would be great content for some art journal, so I ripped a couple pages of those out and added it to my page with some homemade Mod Podge. And then I also used some wallpaper that I had, wallpaper samples that had these little Asian characters on them, which I really love. And then I also got to try something new that I hadn't used before, and that's the Neocolor II water-soluble wax pens or crayons. And I have to say I totally love them. I use them a lot. And so I laid down that around the edges of each of the pieces. So then I just used a watercolor brush to wet the Neocolor pastels that I laid down. So then just to even everything out, I added a really light gesso wash over the top of everything. And then I actually used a little paper towel just to blot out over the pictures themselves to make sure that those were still visible through the gesso wash. I added some acrylic paint swirls to the design just in some random spots. And then I used an Adirondack Paint Dauber to stencil on some acrylic paint. And the stencil is actually a homemade stencil using one of my Martha Stewart any punch anywhere on the page punches. Anyway, I love that stencil and I use it a lot. So anyway, it looked great on this because it's a little bit Asian designed. I broke out all the toys for this project, so I went into my Stampin' Up! Stamp archive and pulled out the Rose Rhapsody stamp, which was just perfect for on my spots. That's what those are for, is to make some little flowers. So I used a paint dauber to ink the stamp up and then just stamped in the center of each of the little circles. And then I got some more stamps out. It's my kanji set also from Stampin' Up! And Art of the Orient, and used a couple of those just to add some accent stamps onto the page. So you can see my Asian stamp in the top right corner. I actually did it in black first and then did it over again in gold to give it a little bit shimmer on top of it. And then used my 2-step Stampin' from, I think it's also from the Rose Rhapsody. It was the leaves that I added to underneath each of the flowers. So here I just added some accents, so I drew over the lines of the little characters so that they stood out some more. I used some pens that have different widths so I could do the real thin lines, and then used a stencil to add some lettering at the bottom, and did that in black, and then went over it with the Doc Martens iridescent color with a fountain pen, and love that stuff. I just wish it were waterproof. That's the only thing I don't like about it, because you got to think about that in advance. But and then I took a glitter pen, a purple glitter pen, and then just added some accents around the leaves of the flowers, so it makes them a little bit shiny and glittery around the edges. So that's pretty much it. I'm probably going to add some words that I wanted to. There were actually some words I wanted to add, but I don't have any printed words that I could easily get. So I'm either going to have to write them out or get something. But I think other than that, I'm pretty much done. So here's just a few shots of the finished work. And that's my journal page for the day. Since I've never posted one of these before, I'd really love feedback from folks about what they think. Obviously art journaling is kind of personal, so you're sort of putting yourself out there when you show one of these off. But anyway, look forward to hearing what people think about it. Thanks.